What is happening, Carib Boys and girls? This is your boy Carib Boy with another Pokemon TCG video. We just had our Pokemon League Challenge, our first Pokemon League Challenge at Victory Road Gaming. I want to give out a big shout out to Victory Road Gaming for qualifying for Pokemon League challenges and for having such a great start to their sanctioned event journey. We had a total Carib Nation of 22 players in this first Pokemon League challenge at Victory Road Gaming. I want to get straight into it. The meta is so diverse. Our local meta is something very interesting that we always talk about. I really need to start back this podcast. But let me get straight into the meta. Now, first off, there were two decks that were unaccounted for. These players would have dropped at round 3, and I wasn't able at the time of trying to record to find out what was played. So they went under miscellaneous decks. I believe it was 2 different decks. So we have 2 decks unaccounted for. So right, so that makes up a little 9% missing. All right. So dominating the format, dominating the meta for this tournament was Charizard EX, coming in at 4 players using Charizard, with little variations here and there, but essentially it were Charizard EX decks. 18%, if you want to give it a slice of the pie chart, 18% of the decks were Charizard EX. We had 2 players with the Future Hands, one of the popular new decks, calling a percentage there 9%. We had 2 players as well playing Chin Pow EX. Close lists again with slight variations. That as well holding 9% of the meta. So that there is a total of 8 decks out of 22. Adding the 2 decks that unaccounted for, that's 10. That leaves 12 decks remaining. Now these 12 decks were all unique. So it's one-offs. Different players come with different decks here. And 1 out of 22 is about 5%. So even though it says 5%, is really 1 player per that section. All right. So we had 1 Future Box, a Torterra EX, 1 Gardevoir EX, and a Spatra EX made an appearance. An interesting deck in Glamora Poison, Arceus Giratina, Gengar EX, Arceus Vulpix. Now, it's both Arceus. There were 2 Arceus type decks, but 2 different strategies, so they have to go in at different types of decks. All right, we had a Great Tusk Mill, a Roaring Moon EX, now after rotation utilizing the baby moons that hit 70 damage plus 10 for every ancient in your discard. I actually fought one in one of my rounds. It was an intense battle. We had a Lugia Vista returning to the popular local meta, as well as returning to the global meta with the introduction of Cinccino. We had, coming in last year in the list, a Dialga Vista, getting very strong after the rotation with the addition of the Metang that makes you search the top 4 cards of your deck and accelerates energy, metal energy, to the Dialga. So let me tell you a bit about how my rounds went. With 22 players, we had 5 rounds of Swiss into rankings to call for the winners. So there was no top cut in this Pokemon League challenge. Actually, there's no top cut in any type of challenge, no matter how large. It's just measured by the amount of players. You get your amount of Swiss rounds, and then the rankings follow after that. For League Cups, though, you would have a top 8 best of 3. These matches are all best of 1, and so Carib Boy rounds were, in round 1, I fought a Gardevoir, and it was a hard battle for me because 2 of my Charizard EX were prized, and they were on top of my prizes, and it was the last 2 prizes to take. So I had to navigate this game with one Charizard EX. Thank goodness for my Hero's Cape, which made my Charizard very beefy. And when it got intense damage, I managed to use Professor Turo to return the Charizard to my hand and bring it back out fresh. So in essence, I was able to use one Charizard as two. And my opponent had a moment where he misplayed, and this cost him the game and given me the win in round 1. That player was Butcher. Big up Butcher. Round 2, I faced against the Arceus Giratina. And if I tell you, I had amazing luck. A card that is supposed to disrupt your opponent ended up giving me the edge not once, but twice. Twice after even being disrupted in a double kind of way. What happened? I played Shiva in this round and he de-evolved my Charizard. And then hit he de-evolved my Charizard, putting me in a very hard position. And he did it twice. He de-evolved my Pokemon twice. And in both occasions, the top deck, when it was my turn, I pulled Arven and was able to get my rare candies back and get my Charizards back on the field. So the evolution, even though it was a great play, my luck really took effect in this round, and I ended up winning that round again. In round 3, I played Stewie. Big up to Stewie and Shiva. Stewie was playing Lugia Cinccino, and he tried to get the game going quickly. I guess he was having trouble getting his Arceus in the discard. So in order to fasten the pace a little bit, he tried to use one Arceus, which in turn, in the long run, ended up slowing him down. And he had one misplay, and sometimes that's all it takes to turn the tides. And I ended up winning that game against Lugia as well. So this put me in 3 wins straight. Round 4 came around and I played my team partner Joel, and he was playing the Roaring Moon deck with the Roaring Moon EX and the Baby Moons. And my goodness, this game by far was my favorite matchup of the entire tournament. This game was very intense. We went straight down to 1 prize each. Finish time went down to 0 to 3 turns, and on the very last turn, I was able to come out on top. I was really impressed by that deck, and I have the cards for it. I was tentative in trying to play with it a bit, but after seeing Joel navigate that deck so formidably, I want to probably try out the deck myself. Big up to Joel for such an intense battle. It really came down to the final bit of plays. So I won round 4, and at this point I was undefeated and number 1 in the ladder. The only person to have no losses going into the last round, round 5. In round 5, I played my Pokemon brethren, my Pokemon brethren, and who I call my biggest rival, Brando. And Brando was piloting the only Dialga V-Star in the tournament. This game didn't go in my favor. I ended up losing this game, so I ended the tournament with 4 wins, 1 loss, 12 points. I had a good start. I was able to set up my Charmanders, Pidgeys, and I think a Rotom V. Yes. I was able to set up the Rotom V. I got 1 Charizard out, but Dialga is so fast in getting energies out, and he only had 1 Metang. So imagine if he was able to evolve both Metangs, how quickly probably this game would have went. I adore that Dialga V-Star deck. In fact, it was my first choice for post rotation, but I do not own the cards to build the Alga Vista. Now, I love my Charizard EX. I ain't going to lie, I love my Charizard EX. But in online testing, I was able to enjoy the Dialga Vista more. I found it faster and even more powerful. And just as I thought, in the tournament, Dialga Vista was the deck that was able to overpower me and move quicker and take my undefeated streak away. Brando remains my final boss, my Gary to my Ash in local tournaments. Big up to Brando for taking that day. So after this, we waited patiently for the results, and when that screen changed from the last round, the results were in fourth place was Joshua Fernandez with Future Hands. Big up Joshua. Yours truly placed third. Oh my gosh, you all don't know how salty I felt going undefeated to the last round. And then through the calculations and how people won, opponents win percentage, and even in one case opponents win percentage, being knocked down to third place. But I placed third with my Charizard EX. Aaron Rupnarine placed second with another Charizard EX. Big up Aaron. And taking first place was Brando with the Dialga Vista. Big ups to Brando, a very strong player in the local community, consistently topping and even winning tournaments. Very strong player, well deserved. Big up to Brando. And that, Carib Nation, rounds up our Pokemon League Challenge recap from Victory Road Gaming. I must say, one final big up to the Victory Road Gaming team for executing a very enjoyable Pokemon League Challenge. The conversations after express only joy. Players really enjoyed the new meta post-rotation, enjoyed playing new decks. Even with losses, people noted their mistakes and made promises to come back stronger. And trust me, I believe them. This lineup here, we have top players all around. And Carib Boy is very, very happy and pleased to once again be in the top rankings in a local tournament, especially a sanctioned local tournament, a Pokemon League Challenge. Big up to all the players who took part, who couldn't take part. We look forward to the next one. All you know what to do, Carib boys and girls, Carib Nation. If you like what you're hearing and seeing, of course, beat up that like button, bust a subscription. This is your boy, Carib Boy, out again.